Module 3: The Journey. Module 3 will explore the variety of routes that immigrants may take during their journey. While we will go over a few of the most common land, sea, and river routes, there are many other routes and methods used during the immigration process. In this module, we will also discuss factors like family size, disability, and age, and how these factors can increase the risks and hardship of the journey. Land migration routes, undertaken on foot by vulnerable groups, present a variety of dangers and challenges. The treacherous terrains, whether dense jungles like the Darien in Panama and Colombia, harsh deserts such as the Sonoran at the US-Mexico border, or the vast expanse of the Sahara in North Africa, impose severe physical strains on migrants, particularly families, small children, and the elderly, and those with health concerns. Limited access to essential resources, including water, food, and medical aid, compounds to the difficulties, exposing individuals to dehydration, malnutrition, and health risks. The threat of violence and exploitation along these routes is pervasive, with criminal elements and human traffickers preying on vulnerable populations. The physical exhaustion resulting from prolonged journeys on foot exacerbates the risks, rendering migrants susceptible to accidents and injuries. Navigating these challenging routes becomes a harrowing ordeal, highlighting the urgent need for comprehensive and humane solutions to address the complexity of land migration. Focusing on two of the most recent routes commonly used to cross into the United States, we will spend a few extra minutes discussing these routes in more detail. The Darien Jungle Crossing. The Darien Jungle Crossing, located between Panama and Colombia, poses extreme dangers to migrants attempting to traverse its dense tropical forests. This region lacks established infrastructure, making navigation challenging. Migrants face the risk of getting lost, encountering dangerous wildlife, and dealing with difficult terrain, which includes swamps and steep hills. The journey can last for several days, and individuals may struggle with exhaustion, dehydration, and exposure to diseases carried by insects. Central American Corridor Crossing. The Central American Corridor Crossing, involving countries like Honduras, Guatemala, and Mexico, presents a range of dangers to migrants. Violence from criminal organizations, including human traffickers and drug cartels, is a prevalent one along this route. Migrants may encounter physical harm, extortion, and kidnapping. Additionally, the challenging terrain, such as mountainous regions and dense forests, contributes to the difficulties of the journey. The length of this trek depends. It can take weeks for migrants to traverse the Central American corridor, facing both natural and man-made obstacles. Sea and river migration routes pose significant dangers and challenges for those seeking to reach their own destinations. The unpredictable nature of waterways introduces risks such as treacherous weather conditions, violent storms, and the potential for capsizing. Migrants may face perilous situations due to overcrowded vessels, inadequate safety measures, and the lack of proper navigation equipment. Additionally, the journey involves the vulnerability of being at the mercy of human traffickers and smugglers who exploit desperate individuals. Sea and river migration also expose people to health risks such as dehydration, seasickness, and the spread of diseases in cramped conditions. The perilous nature of these routes underscore the urgent need for comprehensive policies and safeguards to ensure the safety and well-being of those undertaking such journeys. Some recent examples of the need for such safeguards include the Mediterranean tragedy of April 18, 2015. In one of the deadly incidents, an overcrowded boat carrying migrants capsized off the coast of Libya. Over 800 people lost their lives, highlighting the perils of the Mediterranean Sea route. The Rio Grande drowning in June 23, 2019. Oscar Alberto Martinez Ramirez and his daughter Valerie drowned while attempting to cross the Rio Grande from Mexico to the United States. The haunting photograph of their lifeless bodies on the riverbank brought global attention to the dangers faced by migrants on this particular river route. Finally, the Andaman Sea tragedy, May 2015. Thousands of Rohingya and Bangladeshi migrants faced perilous conditions on an overcrowded boat in the Andaman Sea. Many died due to starvation, dehydration, and abuse by human traffickers, drawing international concern for the plight of those attempting this sea route. Families migrating to the United States, particularly through challenging land routes on foot, encounter unique challenges that compound the difficulties of the journey. The arduous trek amplifies the vulnerabilities of children, the elderly, and those with health concerns, exposing them to physical exhaustion, dehydration, and health risks. Limited access to essential resources like water, food, and medical aid poses a significant challenge affecting the well-being of family members. Additionally, the threat of violence, exploitation, and human trafficking along these routes raises safety concerns, particularly for women and children. The absence of proper infrastructure and legal protections further exacerbates the hardships faced by families seeking refuge, underscoring the need for comprehensive policies and humanitarian support to address the specific challenges associated with family migration on challenging land routes. While most people taking on a migration journey are adults, in recent years, childhood migration has increased, raising concerns about safety and support for this vulnerable population. Separated from their families, unaccompanied minors may grapple with feelings of isolation, fear, and uncertainty about their future. The lack of legal protections, coupled with the potential for detention and deportation, heightens the vulnerability of these children. Their experiences underscore the urgent need for specialized care, legal support, and compassionate immigration policies tailored to address the unique challenges faced by unaccompanied minors during land migration. People with disabilities face unique challenges and obstacles during migration, making their journeys more complex and demanding. These challenges can be physical, social, and systemic, contributing to increased vulnerability and limited access to essential resources. Some specific obstacles include physical barriers. Individuals with mobility impairments may encounter difficulties navigating uneven terrains, crowded transportation, and inaccessible infrastructure, hindering their ability to move safely. Transportation modes, shelters, and facilities along migration routes often lack proper accommodations for individuals with disabilities, restricting their access to basic services and assistance. Dependency on caregivers. People with disabilities who depend on caregivers face additional challenges, as migration may disrupt support systems and access to necessary medical care, exacerbating their vulnerability. Those with disabilities may experience discrimination and stigma, both within their home countries and during migration, impacting their social integration and access to support networks. Communication barriers. Deaf or hard of hearing individuals and those with communication disorders may face challenges in obtaining information, communicating with authorities, and accessing services crucial for their well-being. Lack of legal protection. Migrants with disabilities may encounter inadequate legal frameworks and protections, limiting their ability to assert their rights and access necessary accommodations during the migration process. Addressing the unique challenges faced by migrants with disabilities requires inclusive policies, accessible infrastructure, and awareness both within origin and destination communities. Ensuring the rights and well-being of individuals with disabilities in migration aligns with the principles of equality, dignity, and human rights. Now that we've covered information about the physical journey of migration through land, sea, and river routes, please take a moment to reflect on the questions posed here. While this module only covers some vulnerable populations and some routes taken, consider how other migration routes might impact migrating people.